This is Joe again with another movie review. And since on the day that I'm doing this video is the day before the 2014 Belmont Stakes, and we have the chance or possibility of having a Triple Crown winner. Well, previously I've already done a review of the movie Secretariat, which was based on the 1973 Triple Crown winning racehorse starring Diane Lane and John Malkovich. Well, since I already did a review on that, I'm going to be doing a review of another racehorse, which was huge, because shoot, in the 1930s. As a matter of fact, this horse got more articles written about it than Hitler, than Adolf Hitler and FDR combined, and that is the movie Seabiscuit. This came out, I think, in 2003, and of course, it was Tom McGuire, Jeff Bridges, Chris Cooper. It also stars Elizabeth Banks, and of course, it's about the racehorse Seabiscuit. Of course, Tom McGuire got top billing even ahead of Jeff Bridges, because this film came out a year after Tom McGuire's really breakthrough role in playing Spider-Man. So this movie came out exactly about a year later. Tom McGuire plays jockey Red Pollard, and one interesting thing about this movie is that the three main characters are all given their own backstories, and you find out how they got to where they were and involved with making horse racing history. And Jeff Bridges plays the owner of Seabiscuit, Charles Howard, and explains how he ended up getting the horse. And Chris Cooper plays the trainer, or Seabiscuit's trainer. And of course, it also has William H. Macy in it, playing a radio show host who gets the majority of the comedy in the film, in the comedic scenes, playing a radio show host who does a show on horse racing. The horse racing was, it's not as big now as it was back in the 30s, but it's big business. And of course, there's a radio show on it. But of course, the movie itself, even though I previously reviewed Secretariat, I feel that Seabiscuit is a much better film. The reason why I feel it's a much better film is because it doesn't rush through all the races. There is a sequence in the film which they show a lot of the races that Secretariat ends up, Seabiscuit ends up winning, because he had a streak there for a while where I think he tied or broke a record for most consecutive race wins. And they did show that sequence as a montage. But in terms of the other big race, like the Santa Anita races or the races on the match race, he had against War Animal, who was a Triple Crown winner. I forgot what year it was, but he was a Triple Crown winner during the 1930s. And Charles Howard, who was the Jeff Bridges character, trying to push for a horse race. Because, like I said, Seabiscuit was getting all this press in the media. And of course, the owner of War Animal says, "Oh, who cares? It doesn't look at anybody horse. It's not a blue-bred horse like my horse is, and all this trash talking crap." And of course, everybody gets upset over it. Tom McGuire gets upset about it, Jeff Bridges gets upset, Chris Cooper gets upset about all the people who prefer Seabiscuit were upset over it because they want a match race, and for a long time, the owner of War Animal doesn't want a match race, because my horse is going to win anyway. It's going to be a big waste of time. And then of course, Charles Howard trying push. Now, because Charles Howard was very good with publicity, And of course, you see that through the whole movie how good publicity hound Paul Howard is, and he pushed it so that he finally got the match race, and that was a big, huge deal. And of course, there was one. Of course, at that time it was radio. There was no television at that time. Television wasn't even invented until 1939. So everybody listened to the race on radio over the NBC network, or over the radio, because the NBC had the biggest radio network at that time. So NBC was ironic because they're showing the Triple Crown races for the last few years. They on television broadcast the race, and of course they show montage. So as soon as the match race started between Raw Animal and Seabiscuit, they showed still pictures of people listening to it on radio, and then pick up the horse race from beginning, and then visually show the match race from beginning to end. Of course, which is one thing a lot of the nitpickers will complain about. But at first it didn't really bother me because they wanted to show how huge that match race was. So I can understand why it was done. But it was not a precedent for it, and of course it took a long time to rebuild the hype again for the Santa Anita race that Seabiscuit was one at the end of the movie, which of course he actually didn't see because that's when they cut off at the end of the film. That's how the movie ends, where just before Seabiscuit crossed the finish line. Spoiler. It was a spoiler. Of course, one thing that was kind of interesting, kind of like a fun little side note that I had every time I watched Seabiscuit, is the relationship between Elizabeth Banks' character and Tobey Maguire. The reason why is because Elizabeth Banks played Betty Grant in the original 3 Spider-Man films to Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. So they worked together in really 4 films together, including Seabiscuit. So if you notice a little extra on-screen chemistry between the 2 actors, that's the reason. They just worked on Spider-Man together, and now they're working on Seabiscuit. They have more scenes. I feel they have more scenes together in Seabiscuit. Of course, he also had one thing they did like about this film is, like I said earlier, how they had showed all the backstory in all 3 characters. Especially, I think Chris Cooper they gave him their stuff in the beginning of the film, just to the background of his story. One thing they did like was the nature and everything else. You see how the whole West was closing in, and more people prefer buying cars or the heavy Ford Model T than using horses for transportation, or buying a horse and taking care of horses. But Chris Cooper liked taking care of horses and training them, so he ended up getting that job. Of course, when we got into more publicity of Seabiscuit, that's when I took the Chris Cooper character off, because he played character Tom Smith was the name of his character, and he of course says, "Oh, I can't work with a horse if you're doing all this stupid publicity." And of course, he took all the horseshoes to give away to reporters, or the Jeff Bridges character gave away all the horseshoes. I said, "What?" And of course, Chris Cooper was going nuts. "What the hell are my horseshoes?" And of course, he found out with the newsreels. So you go to the movie theater and watch the newsreels, because like I said, there's no television in that time. And they said, "Oh, because how they trained the horse Seabiscuit." And so, one guy says, "Oh, they probably blow him up with beer." And so, of course, later on you see Tobey Maguire sitting around drinking a beer, and have all these boxes, crates of beer around him. And Chris Cooper says, "What's all this?" "It's beer. Want one?" I said, "What the hell is all this beer doing here?" So it's because from our admiring public, they send them beer to us. And all you got, and Chris was you got killing it. He was going nuts. But it's a film itself. It is over 2 hours long. It's actually about 2 hours and 20 minutes long. So it is longer than the Secretariat movie. And I feel that's better because in Secretariat, like you mentioned in that review, they rushed through the Triple Crown races. I mean, they built up so much in how Penny Cheney, the owner of Secretariat, got the horse, how they built up the form, how she tried to raise money to take care of the horse so that the horse could run in the Triple Crown races. And then, of course, through the three weeks, or the 3 races, they rushed through the hype not for the Kentucky Derby, not only for the Kentucky Derby, but for the other 2 races. They rushed through the weeks between the 3 Triple Crown races, and you did have a little bit of the training with going into the Belmont, because the Belmont of the 3 races is the longest, and the hardest one to win for any horse, particularly the horse that ends up winning the 2 races before. There's more pressure on that horse to win the 3rd race, and that's why we haven't had a Triple Crown winner since 1978, because you have 3 races in about 5-6 week span, and the Belmont is the longest in length of the 3 races. So it's going to be real tough to see if California Chrome will do it. But in Seabiscuit didn't never, as far as I know, which they have a show on the film. So I really don't know if Seabiscuit actually ran in the Triple Crown races. And they make one reference to a race that used to be a stakes race, but wasn't. But now it isn't. That race was mentioned, but it wasn't really mentioned in the film of Secretariat of Seabiscuit. Sorry, I'm confusing the horses. The Seabiscuit actually ran in the Triple Crown races. It wasn't really mentioned. I don't really know if Seabiscuit actually did. But they mostly ran the races like in the California area, in the West Coast races, in the Santa Anita, for example, which I mentioned already. But in terms of the other races, Triple Crown races, who knows? But of course, the highlight of the film is, of course, the match race it has with War Animal, and of course, you had how Seabiscuit was trained for that match race. Some of it was kind of funny in a way, especially how it got the horse to go off to a bell, because when they had to use a bell, and how they got the bell from the local fire department, and which is kind of funny in how they train specifically at night to run another track. I mean, even Tobey Maguire, who was of course plays the jockey, says, "How the hell can we see out there? I can't even see. How can I, one Seabiscuit run the track if I can't see?" And of course, Chris Cooper says, "Don't worry, he'll see. That Seabiscuit do all the work." I said, "Alright." But now of course with the match race, because it's funny because then you see the bell, the fire department bell, instead of the regular bell that was supposed to use, which is funny. But like I said, it's if you want to see a good horse racing movie, I'd rather see Seabiscuit, the Secretariat. And I'm not saying Secretariat isn't a good movie, it is. Especially if you want to watch it for this weekend. Watch both movies and you can tell me which one is better. And I think this one is better. We'll have a review of Seabiscuit. Not Secretariat, Seabiscuit. I know I'm messing up the name the whole video. Please, if you haven't never seen this film, you're missing a damn good movie. I can't recommend it high enough compared to Secretariat. Please click on the video, please rate it, please feel free to comment on it. Please please subscribe to my channel, and of course forward this video onto your Facebook pages. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.